Oh my goodness.
We've just returned from a bar crawl, ladies and
How
gentlemen.
many tons of cheese do we have?
A mild bar crawl, I should add.
Edinburgh. Yeah, it
We're not.
There were only 2 bars in this crawl. Which
18
really,
tons of cheese.
18? Oh my god.
It doesn't even say you're a good eater.
18 sleek and shiny tons of cheese. Scottish cheese.
We are in the British
We're
truck.
taking cheese to France. I should mention. We're taking British cheese to France in violation of what
What's a British kind of cheese?
Cheddar.
Okay, we've got cheddar.
Yeah.
We've got a truck full of cheddar cheese.
Full of cheddar cheese from Edinburgh.
All right, let's begin the truck.
There's a whole bunch of kinds of British cheeses, you know that.
I really hate it when this interface is on the wrong side. I mean, like, more than my wheel being on the wrong side, that really just makes me feel off balance.
Burns your crumpets.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's hard. Well, so Josh is slightly tiddly. I'm significantly tiddlier because I had some fancy beers from foreign countries. And
we got our beer geek on today.
Yeah, we did. We haven't done that in a while. When Josh and I met a couple of years ago, we were both coming off of our individual beer geek phases. We sort of have moved into the hard liquor territory these days.
God, where's my map? Oh, fuck.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. And we're more cocktail kinds of persons, you know. We're more cocktail-centric gents. But we do enjoy a good beer. I like a sour beer myself.
I'm not so big on that. I like a crispy IPA.
I'm not.
Or a bitter.
I'm not going to turn down a crispy IPA or bitter, but you had a brown ale today, in fact.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. It was nice. It tasted of nothing, but in a kind of crisp, refreshing sort of a way.
Yeah, it didn't taste of nothing. It tasted of nothing compared to what you were drinking, but it was
actually, I was drinking some really heavy-handed shit.
It's pretty strong compared to like your average beer.
I was drinking a Belgian something or other, which like just a sour that, you know, told a complicated story and then sort of dumped into coffee grounds at the end. It was just like boobity boobity bam.
Yeah.
And then you wanted to drink more of it, and I did. Probably a little bit too fast.
You want to hear about the situation I'm in right now?
What's your matter?
Look at my RPMs gauge, right? It doesn't have the colors that... Oh, yeah, it does. They're blue and red instead of green. Okay,
Yep.
I was like completely unsure about what gear I was supposed to be in because I also don't have the benefit of hearing my engine revving.
Yeah, no, this is all sorts of confusing, and it's getting dark.
Oh, yeah.
So
turn on the headlights.
Let's go not toward Glasgow, but toward Newcastle.
I was totally going to turn the wrong way.
Yep.
How did you know? Because I was getting in the wrong turn lane.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was more like Glasgow can't possibly be in the right direction, and it wasn't.
I'm above the legal alcohol limit for driving.
Yeah, that's almost certainly both of us.
And it's fucking doing the thing. Please write in. Tell us how to fix
please
the thing.
write in and tell us how to fix the thing, for Christ's sake. I'm going to play with this packet of ketchup because that's the kind of soul that I am today.
Anyway, we have not only a topic but a format for today.
We do. We came up with it while we were hanging out in the basement of Bar Reese, looking at each other with like ineffable disappointment.
That's dishonest. We came up with it on the way to the bar.
Josh, will you let me tell the better story than what actually happened? That's basically what my life is telling the better story than what actually happened. I like streamlining. Well, I'm a writer. That's my job.
Well, you're about to have like a billion opportunities to do that because
that's right. This is going to be an anecdote-heavy production, ladies and gentlemen.
Today's format is pillow talk. You know when you're cuddling up.
Cuddle up.
When you're cuddling up with your cuddly other.
Your cuddle bud.
Yeah. And
I like cuddle bud actually. And your cuddlefish.
Yeah, and you're asking questions to get to know one another just that much better.
Right,
funny
because you dredged them out of an alleyway behind the bar like a couple of hours ago.
Yo, don't get creepy.
What? Which part of that was creepy? Was it dredged?
It sounded like you basically meant we abducted them.
Oh no, we together as a coterie.
I don't know. I mean,
no. Well, getting to know. Well, anyway, you know what I meant. Did you?
Are you talking about the cuddle buddy or the topics?
Oh yeah, we dredged those out of the bar too.
Right. But
anyway, Josh, could you? I'm sorry to have interrupted your automaton there. Could you take another crack at it? No, the mojo's gone.
You know when you're cuddling up on your cuddlefish.
And you're nibbling on your cuddlefish.
You're asking each other what
parakeet.
Planet in the solar system would you most like to visit?
Yeah, which one represents you the most? Why didn't you put that on the list of questions?
Because we'll get to that one. Okay?
I wouldn't like to visit any of them.
We have generated a list of those questions, and we're going to be asking them of each other.
Absolutely. So in order for you to get to know us as if we were your cuddle buds.
Yes.
Your mutual cuddle buds.
Yes.
All up in your cuddlefish.
These are also, let's be honest, these are stories which could come about in other ways.
It's true, but we've had luck with lists before,
yes.
And frankly, I think the last couple of episodes have been pretty listless.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I saw what you did.
I stopped and took a little running start for that one. You might have noticed.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But it worked, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's begin, huh?
Yeah.
Our first one is, what was your greatest childhood fear?
Well, Josh, I'm glad you asked me that.
Mm.
They're like reasonable childhood fears and unreasonable childhood fears, right?
Yes.
And I think the unreasonable childhood fears are probably the
Those are
best
the ones
one.
I remember.
Yeah, no, they're the best ones. I was completely and totally afraid of dying. But that doesn't make
Just suddenly dying?
No, just the fact that I was going to die.
Oh, okay.
I found that very distressing, and still do, frankly. But that's not the kind of thing that you want to be talking to your snuggle buddy when you're cuddling up in your buttle bug.
Well, no, I mean, cuddle talk can get dark sometimes.
Yeah, no, you can cling to your partner and be like, only you can keep me safe from the certainty of my own demise.
Or just hear something kind of intimate that I'm sharing with you.
Yeah, I remember coming downstairs in my footy pajamas. My footy pajamas? Did you have footy pajamas when you were a child? You didn't have footy pajamas?
I mean, no, I don't think so.
You didn't have footy pajamas?
No, I am thinking back. I had
Did you?
I had those ugly skin tight pajamas that kids wear for some reason.
You were British, and so you basically wear a 3-piece suit to bed, right? You wore like a stocking cap and a cummerbund.
No,
probably.
For real though, why do kids wear that skin tight pajama shit?
I don't know. I never wore any skin tight pajama shit.
I thought footies were necessary.
I was not on a no. It was a romper suit.
Footy pajamas, if I understand this correctly, are pajamas where the feet are also enclosed in cloth.
Yeah, it's like a fleece envelope that you sort of tuck yourself up into.
What is that sounds like the main effect of that would be that it's a slipping hazard when you get up.
No. The soles are made of a textured substance.
Christ, that sounds so weird.
And it's just footies. You got your feet.
It's to keep your feet warm or something?
Yeah. And also it's a onesie. It's just a single garment.
Okay, so your childhood fear was footy pajamas.
No.
Okay.
I was entirely fine with my footy pajamas. I just remember at one point going downstairs while my parents were having a dinner party or something. I mustn't have been older than 5. And like coming downstairs and being like, I'm afraid of dying at the dinner party because I was totally afraid of dying. I was completely freaking out about it. And I don't remember what they said to calm me the fuck down about that. I think they were just like, well, it won't be for a very, very long time. Hopefully. And I was like, are you sure? And it's like, no.
And they lied.
It's been for, yeah, no, man, my body's falling apart now, for Christ's sake. And like, they didn't tell me that you're they said, it's going to be years and years and years, and a year felt like a really long time.
Right.
They didn't tell you that your perception of time accelerates as you get older, so it's like this screaming, swan dive toward the end. But anyway.
I've never fully agreed that one's perception of time accelerates.
Mine absolutely does.
I mean, looking in hindsight, years feel like a shorter amount of time, but that's a different statement, if you see what I mean.
Oh, I mean, than the day-to-day. I don't know. I think that my capacity to be bored as a child was so enormous that like hours could pass in ages, which is not so much the case anymore. Partially just because I have better ways to pass the time these days than I used to.
Right. No, I mean that's kind of a matter
your life fills
patience.
up when it wasn't full when you were a kid. Right. The problem.
Yeah.
But like my more like irrational childhood fear was that I was really afraid of stepping on broken glass because I was sure that if I stepped on broken glass, I would accidentally sever my Achilles tendon.
Oh, wow. That's
and that
stepping on broken glass is a risk, but not for that reason.
Exactly. But I was convinced that I would accidentally sever my Achilles tendon because I'd read or heard something about it, and it seemed like the worst possible thing.
All right. Anything else?
Well, you haven't answered the question yet.
Yeah, and I'm just asking if you're done with yours.
No, I think that's my spiel.
All right,
that's my spiel.
I had a number of odd fears as a kid. Like, I guess they weren't fears. Like, I didn't feel afraid of these things as much. It was kind of a sticky worry, if you see what I mean. Just like I didn't actually think they were possible, but like I couldn't get them out of my mind. Like one of them in particular I remember was when I was underwater in a pool. I was afraid that like a brick would appear over my head at the surface level and it would track my head perfectly and be impossible to push up.
Oh yeah, no, I can totally feel that. The fear of being caught under an upturned boat is definitely a fear that I had. That's a pretty good one though. That's very specific and like surreal. And like Dali-esque, which is
and another one that I still think about, although it's even less of a worry now and more just kind of a a thought that keeps entering my mind is that while I was lying on my mattress and everything on top of it, including myself, would be teleported to somewhere very high up in the air.
Whoops.
And that I would then fall to my death on the mattress.
Well, I mean, but you would be on the mattress, right? So you would have something soft to fall on when you.
That's something I thought about too. It's like
it would be really high up.
Yeah, so. It's like I don't think that mattress is going to help me. Like, I mean, there were images in my mind of my like gracefully, like air surfing on my mattress down to the surface. But even as a kid, I knew that's not how it would work.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
Nonsense, you thought to yourself.
But it's not that I wasn't a fraidy kid. I mean, I was, like, but it was always situation specific. Like, I remember we were at the Grand Canyon, and I was just terrified that my center of gravity would somehow get completely thrown off.
And when I went to the Grand Canyon when I was like the age of 24 or 5 or something, it's worrying because it isn't like there's a giant fence. There's just this giant goddamn fucking canyon.
Even when there was a giant fence, like I was afraid that like just leaning my shoulders over, like my shoulders would suddenly become the heaviest part of me, and I would like tumble over head over heels.
Yeah, no, I definitely remember feeling that as well.
Yeah.
I definitely, I don't know if you did this, but I definitely, like, consciously wormed all of my fears out of myself. Like, I used to be afraid of spiders, and I, like, said, you know what, they're not going to hurt you, and then eventually I wasn't, and then I used to be afraid of heights, and I stopped myself from being afraid of heights.
Yeah, I don't have any consistent phobias like that.
Yeah.
Like, I was always the one, well, except at a very, very young age, but I was mostly always the one who was the least afraid of roaches in my family, and I would like totally pick them up like it's no deal.
Yeah, no, I'm I'm still the default roach smasher for this household. I'm less squeamish about it than I've been with by.
No, I remember recently there was one on the oven or something, and you just walked up to it and punched it. Like I'm not exaggerating. You just punched the oven in the spot where the roach was,
and there was no more roach.
Yeah, just a smudge.
If you never punched a roach, you don't know what you're missing out.
Yeah. Anyway,
but regardless, yeah, no, God.
Does that square that question?
Yeah, I think it does.
All right, that makes it your turn to ask the next one.
Oh my! Well, Josh, where'd you get that scar?
Oh, I don't have any scars.
Oh shit!
Although I do have a wound. My front teeth. My front teeth.
What's wrong with your front teeth?
Look at these. These aren't real.
What?
Yeah.
Those are fake?
I told you this story once. I was play fighting with
Show
my
me
brother.
your front teeth again. Oh wow, yeah. Look at those fakey front teeth you've got.
I mean, they're pretty convincing, but actually
did you get them out of somebody else's mouth? Or are they somebody else's teeth?
No, they're made of precious metals. They're
what? Ooh, really?
Yeah, that's what crowns are.
Oh God.
But yeah, like
they look like they're made of ivory.
They're I was play fighting with my brother in the pool, and I did such a sweet dodge against one of his swipes.
Oh, I remember this.
That I bashed my front teeth against the rim of the pool, and apparently I missed the nerve by millimeters. And this haunts me to this day that I was within millimeters of experiencing some of the worst pain ever. But no, it was really just kind of oh fuck, hey, that's my teeth. That's my teeth on that pool. Like, I gotta tell my mom.
Wow, but those were your grown-up teeth by that point.
Yes, they were my grown-up teeth, and we went to the dentist, and on the same night, God bless him, he left his home and came to the dentist's office, and this guy became my dentist. Like, he wasn't my dentist until this day.
Like, a dentist of destiny.
He put in these weird same-day crowns, like while they custom fit the permanent ones to my face. And like they were made of wood, and they felt weird and soft.
Weird wooden teeth.
And then, like when the day came to replace them, apparently the way they remove these old crowns is just to grab them with these weird pliers and kind of just jerk them around until they shattered.
Oh Jesus!
And like he didn't tell me that that's what he was about to do. So it was kind of a disconcerting moment when the teeth that I'd had for a couple of weeks just exploded in my mouth.
Oh Jesus!
And these new teeth are actually
nightmare.
They're actually larger than my old front teeth, and I had to learn an all new way to bite my fingernails.
Oh wow! Yeah, no, I totally feel that. After some dentistry that I got done a while back, I had to learn as well a new way to bite my fingers.
Where are your scars?
My scars? Well, there's this one.
Oh,
which is pretty obvious.
On the back of your wrist.
Yeah, that's the one that happened where they had to go in and staple my scaphoid bone and my wrist together after I had a bad bike accident.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, I broke my wrist by ramming my bike into a bridge, literally into a bridge, because I just lost my concentration while I was riding over a bridge.
I remember the fun part of this story that you told me at the time was that this was like one of the few times you were biking sober.
What do you mean one of the few times I was biking?
That's kind of how you put it at the time.
Well, it's like I've never had a bike accident while biking drunk.
Right.
It's when I'm biking sober, but I'm just tired and distracted. Because when I'm drunk, I pay attention.
Yeah.
Because I know that I'm in a state of diminished capacity. But I was like on my way to a workshop that I was supposed to be running for the theater company, and it was a Friday afternoon, like evening after a full week of work, and I was just like, and I just kind of got distracted and ran my bike into a pillar and went all cattywampus.
Yeah.
And then I rode home with a broken wrist, which is I fixed my bike and rode home with a broken wrist, which I cannot but recommend to anybody who wants to experience severe pain.
That does sound bad. How did you end up in the hospital after that?
I went home and I put ice on it, and I was like, oh, this isn't getting better. Oh, this is getting worse.
Yeah.
This is getting worse. This is getting worse. And so I went into the hospital like at 2 or 3 in the morning.
Just took yourself there on the train or something?
I just walked. You can walk to the hospital from here.
It's kind of close.
They put me in a thing, and then said they weren't going to fix it. The guy was there, says, okay, so you need this specific thing done, but I don't know how to do it, so fuck off. Was essentially what he said, and I was like, oh boy, he knows that I don't have very good insurance. And so I went to a specialist and got it done, and I got my dad to pay for it. Thanks, Dad.
Doctors are assholes.
Well, the doctor who eventually fixed it gave me a break on the cost, which was very nice of him, and it's one of those ones where, like, if you don't, this is the worst bone in your wrist to break, and if you don't get it fixed, then it can like get necrotic, and you have to get a bone transplant from your leg to fix it. And so I was like, yeah, let's get this fixed. And it still hurts when I try to do certain things like push-ups.
Yeah, it's similar with my teeth actually. This is kind of a fringe case, but if I apply metals, I apply like a penny, for instance, and I was experimenting with this when my teeth were new. If I apply them to the back and the back top of my tooth, like on the side of my tongue, I get this burning sensation.
Yeah, I know. It's like chewing tinfoil when you have fillings. It's the worst.
Yeah.
This other scar.
What causes that? I've never known. I asked my dentist, and the extent of his answer was, "Don't do that."
Yeah, no, I have no idea. I assume that it's something magnetic, but then there's this other one that was very visible for a long time, but you can barely see it. How do you see that?
Yeah, I do.
You see that guy?
On the side of your other wrist.
Yeah. So Josh and I were just talking earlier tonight about how it's not funny to sit on people.
You got that from sitting on somebody?
Oh yeah. No.
Did they like bite you?
Yes, they did. I sat on somebody and they bite me hard enough that I still have the scar.
Wow.
Human teeth.
Who are you
do
sitting
not
on?
leave. I was sitting on my girlfriend at the time. We were tussling.
You continued to sit on her despite her objections.
Yeah, that was essentially what happened. Well, that was the thing. I was a young man and prone to roughhousing, you know.
Right.
And so she expressed her displeasure in the only way available to her, and I bear the mark to this day. It was like, God, it was a very long time ago. It was like 12 years ago.
Jeez.
And so those are my matching wrist scars. On my left wrist and on my right wrist, marks of my own folly.
Any other scars?
No, that's pretty much it to speak of, besides, you know, the usual. I have thick skin, and so I scar easily. I have the marks of the human condition all over my bod.
No scars from the times you've been assaulted?
Oh, no, the times that I've been assaulted didn't leave any. Well, hang on. Can you see this?
Oh, a tiny bit, yeah.
Yeah, there's a little.
The lines on your knuckle are a little weird.
The lines on one of my knuckles are a little weird. That was from the time that I slapped a dude's car as he nearly ran me over, and that was a habit that I grew up from. That I had from the Pacific Northwest. In the Pacific Northwest, you know, the pedestrian is king, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, if a driver is an asshole, then you you fuck with their car. You don't fuck with like an Italian's car in New York, or else he comes out of the car and flies at you with his collapsible baton. And I was carrying groceries at the time, and he basically beat the shit out of my groceries rather than beating the shit out of me. Yeah, my poor groceries.
But your
like,
thumb took a...
A shard of glass from a jar of pasta sauce flew up and cut my thumb, like the knuckle of my thumb, really deeply. And for ages, it felt really weird. But it's actually healed remarkably well, given that I didn't have insurance at the time. I didn't go to a doctor, but that was a problem for a while.
A life of violence.
A life of violence. Yeah. No, the time I got into a bar fight, it didn't leave any marks. I just he kicked my face for a while, but my face healed up.
Faces are. I mean, are they resilient?
Probably I don't know, man.
They're probably extremely delicate.
I've made some mistakes in my life. Yeah, I got scars.
Well, all right.
So it's your turn to ask me the question again.
Yes. When did you smoke your first cigarette?
Oh, my first cigarette. I smoked my first cigarette when I was 22, maybe? No. 23? I was 22 or 23. It was at a house party where my band had played in Portland, Oregon. And at the time, we had a drummer the band had a drummer who was still in high school, or was just graduating high school. He's a great guy.
Great guy?
That's what you say about your drummers.
Okay.
I've
never heard you say that about anybody.
Well, I say that about him because that's what you say, and because I essentially have no memory of his personality whatsoever.
It's unlike you to say that about somebody you don't feel that about. I'm confused about why this has happened. Is it what you say to that extent? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Holy shit! What are you doing?
I took that corner a little too fast.
You did. Wow. Oh, and then you were jackknifed. Oh. I'm sorry. I really just fucked with your head by saying that our drummer was a great guy.
That really fucked.
He was too young to be a great guy. That was his thing. He was as yet unformed.
Yeah, it sounds so unlike you in that way too. Like, this isn't something I know Isaac to say insincerely. What happened? What's going on?
No, nothing. We lost track of this guy completely. I have no idea where he is or what he's doing now. I don't even remember what his name is. Actually, now that I think about it, which is a little bit distressing, but I don't know. I was just filling in for the fact that I don't remember anything about him. I assume he was probably a pretty decent human being.
All right.
Anyway, he never did anything wrong to me, but he had this sort of image, I was the oldest guy in this group. Well, almost. In that incarnation, was I? Whatever. I forget what lineup we had at that point, but I was one of the older guys in the group, but I never smoked, I never did drugs.
Right.
And he was convinced that I was like this sort of like elemental goody two-shoes to an extent that was really distressing to him. And so we played this gig in this house party, and and it went really well. And afterwards, on the porch of the house, he was like, "I just want to see you smoke a cigarette."
That sounds like something an 18-year-old would say.
Exactly. No, and he was absolutely probably 17 or 18.
Right.
And so I was like, "All right." And I took it from him and took a few puffs, and I was like, "I don't think I'm doing this right." He was like, "Yeah, I don't think you are." I've never had a knack for it. I'm very bad at inhaling smoke.
Interesting.
And so that was the first time I'd ever smoked. I've I've bummed a puff or two off people before, but it doesn't. I don't think that I'm doing it right. It doesn't do anything for me. And given that I am a creature of habit and that I tend to get attached to creature comforts, I'm pretty glad that it's not something I've ever been any good doing.
Yeah, this answer isn't too interesting for me. I first smoked freshman year of art school because that's kind of what you did.
Oh, absolutely, I can imagine.
Yeah, like everybody just started smoking your freshman year because no one wanted to be the person who refused. And I tried it out, and at least I thought I liked it for a while. I mean, it was okay. It gave you a little bit of an oxygen deprivation rush at first, which is fun, and a little bit of a stimulant effect as well.
Yeah, it looks good on you. You have that kind of hangdog face that goes well with the cigarette.
Yeah, I mean that's what I thought too. I mean, I definitely have memories of impressing a few people I knew before I started smoking by being someone who smoked now.
Right.
Which is kind of unfortunate that that's a thing, but
yeah.
It still happened, and eventually I just started. I did it less and less because cigarettes were expensive. For a long time, I had a policy of I'll do it if someone offers me a cigarette, but that reached a point where it was happening so infrequently that I actually started feeling like shit every time I smoked a cigarette because I guess my body became slightly less impervious to tar and things. So that's my cigarette experience.
Fell by the wayside.
Yeah. I do feel kind of responsible for someone I used to know in high school being a smoker now, who recently quit. Like, he visited me in New York for the first time, and I was smoking, and I don't know, I saw something in his eyes, this glint of, this is too cool.
Like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
The real life. New York, art school.
And, like, he smoked for the next few years, and he had to actually really struggle to quit.
Well, good on you for quitting, whoever you are. Congratulations.
I don't think they would admit that it was me, but that's just a feeling I have.
Cool.
Anyway, next one.
All right. I think it's my turn.
Yes.
So, if you could have one of these two superpowers, flight or invisibility.
Yes.
This is the question that has been posed many times, but was most famously posed by John Hodgman on a particular episode of This American Life.
I think anyone who says invisibility is probably a creep.
See, what John Hodgman said was that anybody who says flight is lying. Because they're trying to make themselves look good. It was really remarkable to me how many people either said invisibility right away or said, if I'm really being honest with myself, I would choose invisibility, because flight seems like incredibly obvious to me. That's the one that you would go with.
I can see the novelty of flight wearing off.
I suppose so.
Its utility would be limited. I mean, like, flying high up in the air, that would be cold as hell.
Well, I mean, you get into in this conversation, you get like certain, there's certain caveats and things that
there's a lot of angles. I mean, one of them is that you can keep your invisibility powers a secret, whereas if you fly, then you're probably
really hard to you're
going to become some kind of fucking world wonder, and that sucks. What I would choose is teleportation if I were given free reign. That's
a pretty good choice.
Yeah.
If I was limited to flight or invisibility, I would go with flight. I mean, the bird thing makes that kind of obvious, probably. Yeah. But also, I mean, on a basic level, the thing about
I can imagine the look that you would have on your face while you're flying. It's the look you give yourself in the mirror.
Okay, we might have to append one of my selfies at this point in the video just to give you a sense of what my face would in fact look like if when I was flying. So yeah, no, but what I was saying is one of the benefits of flying that would make it really important to me is that I'm a heavy dude, and gravity rides everything, as Isaac Brock once sang. And I would really like to not be held down.
Yeah.
And to feel that I was being gradually crushed by the weight of the planet, which I sort of do.
Yeah. Between those two, it is kind of a wash for me.
It really...
Besides that, I don't want to be a creep. I mean, like, invisibility, that appeals to my spy fetish.
Right.
Which I haven't actually talked about on this show. I like spy fiction. Flight, yeah, it's all cool. Those are both pretty cool. Mm-hmm. I don't want one or the other.
Teleportation is absolutely the one to go for if you have the option of the three, though, just because travel, man.
Yeah, teleportation would be so cool.
It would be really, really convenient. Yeah. So we've settled that question.
Okay.
If you wanted to be invisible, you're a creep.
Yeah.
Right.
Next one. We're actually kind of getting closer-ish to the end of the list than I thought we would. But the next one is, what do you think of Goat Simulator?
Well, I think that it's probably, from what I've seen, that it's a pretty clever satire on the current state of sandbox video gaming.
Yes. I really loved that the launch trailer was a parody of the famous Dead Island trailer.
Tell them about the famous Dead Island trailer.
The famous Dead Island trailer, which got a lot of people hyped on this pretty terrible game, which wasn't even similar to this trailer tonally.
Right.
It opens on this slow motion frame of a dead little girl.
It starts with her eyeball.
Yes, her eyeball.
It zooms out from her eye.
It zooms out from her eyeball, and you see that she's kind of zombie looking
and super dead.
And there's you can see in the background that there's a zombie shambling backwards.
Yeah.
And then she starts falling up, like time is
Spike
reversing.
Jones time, everybody.
Yes. And you can see the shards of glass falling with her, and she goes up into the hotel room she fell from.
Yep.
And basically you see it play out.
Stop speeding offense.
I'm sorry. You see it play out in reverse with brief intervals of normal speed forward motion,
right,
with audio clips
and
of
little
her trying to run away from the zombies.
And little slam cut bursts.
Yeah.
Of the screamer variety.
Yeah. And basically the narrative that unfolds is that this girl was running from zombies through the hotel to get to her parents' hotel room. The parents open the door and see that there's zombies and fight the zombies. Little girl is put on the bed. They're fighting the zombies in the hotel room. Little girl comes to life as a zombie, jumps on her dad's back to try to bite him. And her dad scrambles around while her mom is in a panic. She's holding a knife like, "Do I stab my daughter?" And the dad scrambles around in a panic, backs up against the window, and the little girl falls out the window and dies again. And this is like so maudlin.
I should mention that this is set to like Requiem for a Dream style, super schmoopy strings.
It's piano and strings. I guess there's probably strings, like not like the dana dana dana, not like urgent.
Yeah,
it's just sad.
I'm imagining like a Beethoven, sonata.
Yeah, it's somewhere between a sonata and a dirge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really tasteless.
Yeah,
but it's one of the most famous game trailers of all time because like people are saying like, wow, this is very tonal.
There was certainly some artistic ambition involved in the creation of this thing.
And then the game comes out and it's like this B-movie horror thing with zombies and like. It's literally like the Asian girl is good at swords. It's that kind of thing.
Right.
Anyway, the Goat Simulator launch trailer, which you should watch, is
because
great.
It's pretty great.
It's basically the same trailer except starring a goat. Yeah. And the slam cuts. It doesn't have zombies, of course. The slam cuts are.
This is the goat flying through the entire hotel.
Yes, Goat Simulator is not a real simulator. Goat Simulator is like an old school Tony Hawk nonsense sandbox game. Yeah. Like you
nonsense generators.
The slam cuts are of like the goat like jet packing with a man like somehow strapped to the jetpack and just flying through the air, running into things, headbutting like houses down, whatever it is. And like you see it play out backwards. That the goat
has a sticky tongue, and you can like attach saw blades to it and whip your head around. It
transpires like you see the goat fly up and up through the window, and then through the room of the house, and out through the other window, and towards an exploded gas station. Like the gas station explodes somehow. I guess the goat.
This is an enormous explosion, right?
Yeah.
And the final scene of the trailer is just the goat trotting quietly toward the gas station.
With like two cars passing it peacefully. Like the best thing is that the cars don't react to the explosion at all. They continue driving slowly past. And Goat Simulator is like.
We haven't played it yet. We're gonna grab it and play it, and we'll report back. But it's almost, the concept is almost kind of like the important part. It's just like,
like one of the
take a goddamn stop taking yourself so fucking seriously.
Yeah, I mean it's especially directed to like a Grand Theft Auto game, right? Like my favorite thing that this game does is that it liberates like your Saints Row or Grand Theft Auto nonsense. And brings it to the indie world, and it's like the world doesn't need to be 10 miles wide. Mm-hmm. It's like making it.
I mean,
one
Saints Row had a
enough.
little bit of this. Was not nonsense free. But
I mean, Saints Row used to be the Grand Theft Auto antidote, but now Saints Row is just its own fucking thing.
Right.
But like, Goat Simulator. My favorite thing on the features list for this game is. Millions of bugs. We're only fixing the crash bugs. The rest are hilarious, and we're keeping them. And that's just a refreshing. Like there are games with bugs that are endearing, but they never go on the features list.
Right.
You know,
it's not a feature; it's a bug. Yeah.
I appreciate Goat Simulator's spirit, and I think we need a few more things like it.
Yeah. There you go. You got to pop. Particularly in the post-Bioshock Infinite era, you got to pop a few bubbles of pomposity, I think. Got to pop a few balloons.
Yeah.
Because these people are getting inflated like giant, anthropomorphic bullfrogs.
Right, and it understands what a game is about, right? Like, it's something you fucking play with.
Yeah, toys, man.
Yeah.
Toys. I saw a video, speaking of video game reviews, I saw a video game review by a girl who, it was a review of Grand Theft Auto 5 where the premise was she ate an entire Scotch bonnet before the review and just spent the entire review talking about how much she liked Grand Theft Auto 5 while suffering like intense pain from the hot pepper.
Hot pepper reviews.
From the hot pepper
this is a whole series of reviews. They're pretty good. And that girl in particular is a champ. Like,
No, she's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
Those are some serious peppers.
They also get like famous game personalities like Ego Raptor. I don't know if you know Ego Raptor.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, frequently they just get on and go, "Ah! Ah!"
He's the one from Game Grumps who doesn't have a parrot, and so I don't care about him.
Yeah. Ego Raptor did a pretty good video about what makes Mega Man so smart, but he's also a little bit, he overstates it. Whatever, that's another.
Oh, he's fine. I don't object to him, but John Tron's better.
This is exactly what my pillow talk actually sounds like.
Yeah.
I know this was kind of put on here as a joke, but this is what I talk to my girlfriend about in bed at night.
Good to know. Josh, what were your first words?
My first words were let me tell the story.
Okay, all right, there's a story.
Oh.
There's a story for mine too.
Yeah.
We verbal kids tend to have them.
My mom, I kept, I guess technically my first word was no.
Ooh, okay.
But this is really my first phrase. My mom kept trying to give me things. And I would keep responding, no, nah, no, nah. That's my baby voice.
That's okay.
And
I like that your baby voice was the Rich Saunders.
Mama!
Good. Anyway.
Get to the banana!
But anyway, as you were saying.
She couldn't figure out what I wanted. But eventually, I blurted out, no! Banana! and in stunned silence, because for the first time her baby communicated with her effectively, she brought me a banana, and I was silenced.
It reminds me of the joke about the German child who didn't speak until he was like 6 years old.
Mm.
Have you?
No, I don't know that story.
Oh, it's a nice joke.
Tell me the joke.
It's a joke. So there was this nice German couple, and they had a nice German kid, except that he would never talk.
Mm.
And no matter whatever they tried, speech therapy and all this, he seemed like a perfectly normal kid, but he just never talked. And,
Match.
Ooh, that's beautiful. And like it continued like this for a really long time until like he was 6 years old, and they were sitting down at the table, and they were like tucking into a serving of apple strudel, and he was like, "Oh, this apple strudel is a little bit undercooked." And they were like, "Hans, why have you never said anything up until now?" And he was like, "Up until now, everything was satisfactory."
That's a good joke, not only about an absurd situation, but about the German attitude.
Yeah,
the national German attitude.
That's why it's a German child with an accent that may have been Slovenian there. I do apologize for my
good enough.
terrible German accent.
It sounded European.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, my mother also has a story about my first word, and with all of these stories, you kind of have to like take it or leave it, because I clearly don't remember being the person saying the word.
Right.
Do you remember being the
No,
baby saying
no.
banana? No. And so my mother tells me that my first word was, I was looking at the Christmas tree when I was a small little, bean, and I was looking at the Christmas tree, and I reached out at the Christmas tree, and I said, "Light." Light.
Oh wow! Did you actually say it twice?
Yeah, I kept saying light.
That's good.
Well, the good part is what she says my second word was,
okay,
which was light switch.
Light switch. That kind of ruins it. That makes it not. Not.
I think it makes it better.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it better, but it removes the genre constraints. Yeah.
Even as a kid, I was a fan of the dramatic gesture left hand side.
I'm going to add a question here, just to kind of beeline off of this one.
Oh yeah?
What is your first memory?
Oh, my very first... Have we not discussed this?
I think we've discussed it. I don't think we discussed it on Trucks. We might have.
I seem to remember that we did when we were casting around for...
Leave us a comment if we've already discussed this, and we'll move on to the next topic.
Well, I'm sure that I've discussed this with some human being at some point in my life.
Yeah, so because for me it's kind of a cool story.
Which remind me of what the story was for you, and then I can tell you whether we've discussed it on Trucks.
My first memory is a dream I had.
Yes, we have.
On Trucks. Are you sure? I know I've told you, but I don't know that I told you on Trucks.
Just put it on Trucks again.
Okay.
You can skip forward to the time that we're currently flashing on your screen You don't want to listen to us tell these stories again?
Who listens comprehensively to these? Whatever.
Yeah, fuck that.
My first memory is of a dream I had where I'm playing in what I believe I remember as a nursery room, some kind of playroom. I don't know if it was a real room or not. But I was playing with my brother. We were just kind of crawling back and forth on the carpet.
As you do.
Yep. And with toys. I think there were some kind of truck toys or something.
I'm almost certain that you didn't actually tell the subjects before. So
okay. And
oh right, we were going. It was in a bar.
Okay.
We were with Rob and
yes,
in a bar.
Yes,
that's where we told these stories. It's basically trucks, except we were without an audience and with booze.
Yep.
But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and I gradually became kind of worried about the fact that this room had no doors or windows, like no visible exits of any kind. It had like some nice wallpaper, and it was well lit, like it was as though it had natural outdoor lighting, but I don't think that's really something that struck me back then.
Right.
But no exits. But my mother was in the room, sitting on a chair, and like watching us and smiling. And I tried to express this concern to my mother.
That's not the... Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I tried to express this concern to my mother, but I didn't really have command of speech back then.
Right.
So the way I expressed this was just to say, "Mommy?" Question mark.
What's going on?
And her answer was, "Yeah," or just "Yes." Yes, like I remember it was this very plain spoken and very cheerful and reassuring yes, but it didn't really convince me.
Oh no.
And so this just repeated a few times, and that's the dream.
A lot of my earliest memories were also dreams. Speaking of, I have a very early memory of tooth injury, speaking of which, when I would have been tooth injury.
Oh, got it.
Falling off of a brick wall onto my face and chipping one of my baby teeth when I was 4, I guess. But I think that I don't know chronologically which of these memories are my first memories because it's very difficult to start out. But I think that perhaps one of the first really intense memories that I have was of, once again, at some sort of dinner party occasion in the old house, the house that I grew up in for like my first 5 years of my life, drinking a tremendous amount of grape juice and then throwing up in front of everybody and having my throw up be like intensely purple. Just like looking down into the throw up bucket or the container, and
there was a container then. That's
I was throwing up into a container and just being like, it was so purple. And now that I think of it, I have no reason to believe that this was not a dream. It could very well have been a dream. I remember a lot of my early dreams very, very, very clearly.
Can you tell me one of those?
Oh, there's one involving like hanging out in a planetarium with a dinosaur. You know,
that sounds awesome.
There was one where
I want to do that.
There was one where it was Christmas and I got Super Mario Brothers, but for Christmas, and so I opened it, but it was impossible.
Aww.
I started playing it, and just like the first jump was impossible, so I just kept dying.
God, that kind of establishes a theme with your dreams, I think. I feel like a lot of your dreams are probably like that.
Why would you think that? Do I tell you about my dream?
I feel like that's something you've told me in the past.
I've told you that story in the past. I know that. But
a lot of my dreams are like that, actually. That's probably why I think that.
It's it's a thing.
For
it's
me,
like,
it involves them trying to read something or read some kind of chart.
The sort of like the completely incomprehensible frustration. For me, it's usually like it's usually a traveling dream for me because I have dreams of travel difficulties all the time, and just like not being able to work the goddamn ticket machine, or not being able to find my goddamn gate, or not being able to get off on the right stop on the train, or whatever it is. Like, that should be completely obvious, but for some reason I just can't get my mind into it.
Yeah, same. Yeah, and for a while it doesn't even occur to me that I'm not managing to do it.
Right.
If you see what I mean? Like, just I'm looking at this and expecting to be able to read this word any second now.
Yeah.
It's usually like as soon as I realize that I'm not actually getting any information from it that I wake up. Supposedly it's because of that part of your brain which is switched off when you're sleeping.
I learned that from a cartoon though, so I'm not entirely sure.
I learned that from Batman the Animated
Series. Exactly. I also learned it from Batman the Animated Series. So it's entirely possible that is complete bullshit.
I think it's true. I think I've heard it elsewhere since. And it's so consistent with my experience that it resonates.
Yeah, I feel like I remember being able to read in my sleep.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Whoops. That's not going to go well.
No, we're fine.
Okay.
I lost a lot of speed.
Nice break-ins. Hey, we're almost to the Europe now. Yeah. We have one more question on the list. which is your sporting triumphs.
Yes.
Tell me about your sporting triumphs.
My greatest sporting triumph is that I have a really good win rate as Dazzle.
Ooh.
Dazzle is Dota 2 character. That was a joke that I know some of you will get. Huh?
Yeah. Oh, it was a joke?
Kind of.
Oh, okay. See, I don't get it.
It was tongue in cheek.
All right. That was his best. That was your best at sports.
I was good at dodgeball as a kid. I don't know.
We had this discussion earlier this evening that I thought it would be a really good discussion.
Are we going to try and reproduce this?
No, I'm just gonna say to tell you that I was really good at wall ball, and then you said, "Is that the one with the 4 squares?"
No. You said ball.
No.
Oh,
I'm going to.
Here's what happened.
No. I will tell the story.
Okay, but I want to clarify that when you said wall ball the first time,
you thought you said.
I thought you said ball.
Okay. Here was the exchange.
Yes.
I said, Josh says, I was good at dodgeball. I'm like, I was good at wall ball. Josh says, is that the one with the 4 squares?
I asked, is that like 4 square? Or
no, you said, is that the one with the 4 squares?
Right, I asked, is that 4 square court? Yeah.
I said, no, that's 4 square.
Yeah.
You said, so what's wall ball? And I said,
what's ball?
Okay, I heard wall ball.
Whatever.
And I said, okay, you play it with a wall.
Yeah.
You play it up against a wall. It's like handball. And he was like, oh, like ball wall. We called it ball wall. And I was like, no, it's called wall ball.
Yeah.
And that
yeah. This is
was it actually called ball wall? Did you call it ball wall?
It was called whatever you were calling it.
Wall ball.
Wall ball.
It was wall ball.
I'm in a sitch.
Oh, you are. You can't get around that corner.
I can't get up this hill.
Oh dear. Because you're just laden with too much cheese.
I'm in first gear and I can't get up this hill.
Well,
I guess we'll just let myself slide down the fucking hill.
Alrighty.
My truck is gonna bing against the thing.
Not if you have brakes.
Well, I have to slide all the way down.
Steer.
I'm trying, but steering a truck is difficult.
Steer a truck. Backward. Oh no, you're scraping your cheese.
Okay.
Alright, now go up the hill. Get up a nice big head of steam.
Christ, we can't. Well, what
Are
the
you
fuck is
still there?
happening?
Oh no, you're wedged.
We're probably
you're
still
cheese
there.
wedged. Okay, you can do it. You can do this. You can do this.
Here we go.
Alright. You can manage this. I know you can.
Yeah, we're good now. We're fine.
I believe in you.
We're already up to 5th gear.
Alright. So anyway, yeah, I was pretty good at wall ball. It was my best playground sport. But my biggest sporting triumph was when I got a kid out at first base in my 2nd grade Little League baseball team. And I've never experienced a sporting triumph since. I've excelled. I've crushed my friends in games of racquetball, but you can't really be proud of crushing anybody at racquetball, really.
Yeah.
Let alone your friends.
I wonder what the game I've ever been the best at was.
Like the physical game and the real world game, or just the game.
Either.
Street Fighter 2.
No.
I'm unstoppable at Street Fighter 2.
Are you still unstoppable at Street Fighter 2?
I don't know. We can find out.
For me, it might be Quake 3 Arena.
That's pretty reasonable. I was pretty great at Binding of Isaac by the time I stopped playing it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty great at Spelunky right now. But not that great.
You know what? Oh my god.
Yep, you're in Europe now, sucker.
Yeah. I remember vividly a game that I would always crush whenever I played it online. It was a video game.
Okay.
I think it's probably because of the audience for this particular game and because it was a clone of Quake 3 Arena, which I was fairly good at. But the game was, drumroll please, Star Trek Voyager Elite Force.
This is the video game that you were the best at. This is the game that you're the best at. You've never been better at a game than you were at Star Trek Voyager Elite Force.
Yes, it was basically a Star Trek skin on a lazy single player campaign on the Quake engine.
Nice.
I remember you could play as all the Star Trek Voyager characters in the multiplayer. You could play as Tuvok, you could play as Janeway, you could play as Borg Drone 1, Borg Drone 2. You could play as a Species 8472,
oh, wow.
like creepy critter,
yeah.
Except he was holding guns.
That's pretty great.
I remember the best gun was the the phase rifles they use sometimes in the movies. It had this alternate fire, which was like this one shot instant hit thing, which would like instant kill a player if they had anything below 90 health.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was pretty serious.
I gotta tell you that probably the best I've ever been in a video game was a Tetris Attack.
Ooh.
We played Tetris Attack one summer on a projector on the wall at my friend's house, and I became unstoppable.
That's
Tetris
pretty
Attack.
cool. Were you one of those? I don't suppose you're one of those people who can play it in invisible mode where you can't even see the goddamn blocks.
How is that possible?
You go by the next indicator. You memorize that, and then you just go with muscle memory for all the rest.
That's not what Tetris Attack is.
Oh, what's Tetris Attack? Oh, that's multiplayer Tetris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Tetris Attack is a video game that it's another like macho blocko match game.
Have you never seen these videos on YouTube
of
like
people playing Tetris blind?
Yeah, like on like mega speed too. It's insane.
I can totally imagine it. It's a game that would attract your savant.
Yeah.
A savant or two. Well,
I was also pretty good at Dance Revolution as a kid.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I can. It's like I know there was a game that I was always really good at, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah. I'm not very good at Truck Simulator. I'm not very good at video games these days.
It's okay. You don't have to be very good at video games to be very good at discussing video games or writing about video games, which is a change, I think. It didn't used to be that way.
That's true.
In order to, back in the day when difficulty was king, you had to be quite good at video games in order to really experience them.
Difficulty doesn't mean the same thing these days. Like in a game like Dark Souls, it's hard, but it's kind of like if you learn it, then it's easy.
Yeah, and also like worst case scenario, you can just keep chewing.
Yeah.
Piece by piece, bit by bit.
Yeah.
Whereas Nintendo Hard is a kind of a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Probably for the best, frankly. There's there's an ongoing debate about that particular thing, which I think we may have touched upon before, but I don't have any nostalgia for the lost levels or what have you.
Yeah, that shit is headache inducing. Someone said something interesting to me once, which was that they don't like games that make them feel immersed. They like and it's like totally reasonable when you think about it, but it's so the opposite of what people usually say. He doesn't like games that make you feel immersed. He likes games that remind you that you're looking at a screen.
Interesting.
His favorite example was something that actually I've tried to find in the past because I think you would like it. It's a level from Mega Man 1.
Yeah.
Except you're Mario. And you have all of Mario's mechanics.
No, I think I played that.
And it turns out that it's just like barely beatable.
Right. No, I've played various variations on that game.
Yeah.
Anyway, and he likes this because it reminds him of the artificiality at play, or
yeah, something like that.
I don't know. I think
he didn't elaborate that strongly.
Frankly, at this point, I don't particularly care for video games that immerse your ass either. I think it's mostly games that allow you to learn a specific skill without using much of your brain that are my jam these days. Yeah.
Although, there's something to be said for the immersive ones. I know you liked Half-Life and Half-Life 2 recently.
Oh yeah, no, the old Super NES RPGs, basically immersiveness was all they had going. Yeah, I think it's cool that like Dark Souls, the king of video games now, is essentially an action RPG and is basically just a hyper-evolved form of Secret of Mana. Yeah, and
people compare it to Zelda as well.
Yeah, no, Zelda is clearly the more immediate one, but Zelda was never particularly. You never like leveled up in Zelda. You never, you never had spell points or what have you. Right. It's actually closer to like a Secret of Mana, and Secret of Mana is one of the best games ever made. And so it's nice to see that model is getting its due again after sort of a long period of hibernation.
Well, I'm glad we slipped a little bit of video game talk into the end of this one.
Yeah, and the middle.
Well, yeah, but that was.
We didn't even talk.
That was Goat Simulator.
We didn't even talk about Game Jam.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like we had
Captain
time.
Pepsi.
This Game Jam reality show shit was crazy, yo. Go read about it if you haven't already.
You should check it out. And let's see, I'm going to read it.
Oh, you're going to actually do a poem.
Well, I'll do an E. Cummings love poem, probably.
Because we were doing those are great. Just pick a snatch from the very beginning. His early shit. I love those.
Okay.
They're like just...
straight up sonetry.
Yeah.
Of Nicolette, perhaps. Does that work for you?
Sure.
Oh god, this is long.
Yeah, don't read the whole thing.
Oh, it's not that long, actually.
You're not going to be able to read the whole thing.
Dreaming in marble, all the castle lay like some gigantic ghost flower born of night, blossoming in white towers to the moon, soft sighed the passionate darkness to the tune of tiny troubadours and, phantom white, dumb blooming boughs let fall their glorious snows, and the unearthly sweetness of a rose swam upward from the troubled heart of May, semicolon. A winged passion woke, and one by one there fell upon the night like angels' tears the syllables of that mysterious prayer, and as an opening lily drowsy fair when from her couch of poppy petals peers the sleeping morning, gently draws apart her curtains and lays bare her trembling heart with beads of dew made jewels by the sun. He's talking about vaginas. So one high shining tower, penis, which as a glass turned light to flame and blazed with snowy fire, unfolding gave the moon a nymph-like face, a form whose snowy symmetry of grace haunted the limbs as music haunts the lyre, a creature of white hands who, letting fall a thread of luster from the castle wall, glided, a drop of radiance, to the grass. Shunning the sudden moonbeam's treacherous snare, she sought the harboring dark, and, catching up her delicate silk all white with shining feet, went forth into the dew, wildly beat her heart at every kiss of daisy cup, and from her cheek the beauteous color went, with every bow that reverently bent to touch the yellow wonder of her hair.
Yeah, that's a poem that's got to be read a hell of a lot slower.
You kidding me? But I was in full flow.
I appreciate your flow. I mean, I enjoyed that regardless.
Mm-hmm. Are you,
almost there,
Jesus.
but not quite there. We'll get there next time.
This is a very Freudian piece of work, this action that you're doing right now.
Maybe for you. Whoever smelt it dealt it when it comes to Freudian shit.
Nicely done. Good work.
Thank you.
Good work. You only battered the cheese a little bit.
All right, everybody. I hope you feel like you are a little better acquainted with us now.
Absolutely, and that you can totally taste my morning breath.
Ooh.